Let's go.
Welcome to Citizen. We got a special show today from SHOT Show. Actually, the first time we've done something like this. So we were at SHOT Show last week, as you remember. We went down to our buddy's booth at F1 Firearms, Dion. I think he's been on the show before. And we recorded with some guys who were walking by, some friends of ours. In this episode, we're going to speak to Ray Kashkar, former Navy SEAL, Ian Smith, the gem owner from New Jersey, who we had on relatively recently, I think, John Lovell from Warrior Poet Society, who we've not had on, but we will soon. And then our buddies AJ Buckley and Tyler Gray from SEAL Team, and amongst other things. And Tyler, I think, might actually be starting a show on our network here pretty soon, so we're looking forward to that. We're going to talk about gun culture, entertainment, the state of affairs, current state of affairs in America and the West, liberty, stuff like that. These are all folks that I know and respect and have varied experiences, life experience, military, entertainment, things like that. You guys know a lot of these people. Ray's passion is training young boys, young men to become, protectors in society and things like that. Something we talk about a lot. Warrior Poet Society is kind of geared towards ensuring that liberty-minded Americans are prepared and informed to defend what's ours. Then there's AJ Buckley, who I don't know how much you guys know about his backstory, but he was born in Ireland, grew up in Canada, and now he's an American citizen as of 6 months ago. But he's been a citizen of 3 countries in his lifetime. And, chose on his own accord after being here to become an American because it meant a lot to him. And as you all know, there aren't many people who are more patriotic or appreciative of what America has to offer than first-generation Americans. And AJ certainly fits that bill to a T. And then Tyler Gray went from being one of the top operators in the world to film and television, not just acting, but directing as well, which is a very difficult job to do. And as many of us did, he struggled mightily transitioning out of the military and finding, purpose. And then finally, after being out for a while, found the motivation and purpose that he was looking for. So they're all great conversations. Ian's audio is a little bit fucked up at the beginning because I guess he lifted so many weights that his brain doesn't know how to turn a microphone on or something, maybe. I don't know. Maybe Ray is to blame and didn't turn the microphone on when he handed it to him. All I know is that some shit went down and it wasn't my fault. I'm quoting Alec Baldwin right there. So sit back, enjoy the show, and as always, please like, subscribe, share so we can grow this audience and keep spreading our message of liberty. Welcome to Citizen. This is a very special episode. Ray Kashkar is a moron and doesn't know how to turn his microphone on.
I see her. Yes,
Here.
Thank you.
I got you this.
Is this for later?
Yeah, we're going to cycle in a couple of guests today here live from SHOT Show. We've got Ian Smith, gem owner. He was just on the show about a month ago. Ray Kashkar, who you all know and love. What's up, boys? How you doing?
Good. We're at SHOT Show, Las Vegas, Sin City. I'm here with 2 great Americans, and I'm looking at a couple good-looking women. Right here, I'm looking at one, and woo, this is America.
Yeah, that's true. This is America.
Well, as in, like, nothing's more American than being
America.
next to
Sorry,
America.
That's somewhat different. How you doing?
I'm good. Just taking this all in. It's my first time at SHOT Show. So
Right.
Yesterday I spent the day just absolutely lost looking at a map for about 45 minutes.
This your first time?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So I finally figured out that you just start walking and you figure out where
Yeah.
It's like it's not that far. You know what I mean? It just kind of there's too many people around here. So, what are you doing here exactly?
I'm here with Nine Line.
Okay.
Nine Line and Jacobs Gray.
They're over near Black Rifle's booth, right?
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So just here to hang out, meet some people, and support the community.
And let's talk about the community a bit, because this show is mostly about, this, you guys have both been around. This show is about performing the responsibilities required of you to secure your rights as a citizen, or you can let somebody else do it and you'll be a fucking subject for the rest of your life. I haven't had a chance to talk to you about this yet. There's AJ Buckley. I haven't had a chance to talk to you about
Star,
this
SEAL
yet.
Team.
But give me your thoughts on that, about responsibility. You can feel free to harass him while he's doing this.
Look, it's the greatest fake Navy SEAL I've ever met in my life.
What's up, buddy? Good to see you.
You look great. AJ,
doing,
go over
buddy?
and talk to the pretty girl.
Yeah, we'll get there in just a sec. Oh, it's fine. This is part of the show. Bud. So yeah, tell me your thoughts on that. About you've been involved in a lot of these programs that try to go down to the lowest possible level and get to kids before they become dirt bags and say, hey, you know what? You want to get fed? Got to do some work. Basically, is the premise, right?
It is the premise. And I want to talk about something. I recently posted a video on IG, and I don't understand the difference of the platforms, right? So I posted a video of me squaring away young men. And yeah, and back in the day, if we were two 12-year-olds and I was this punk, and what would happen? I would have got my ass whooped.
We just
right?
fight each other, and then
we'd fight each other, and then it was over
whatever,
with.
yeah.
Well, nowadays there's no consequences. Everybody's entitled. So I stopped him and I said, listen, number one, if I was 12 years old right now, I'd whoop your ass, but I can't. But what I can do, because I was punishing the few for him. I was just punishing him. It wasn't affecting him. So then I said, I'm going to try something new.
Yeah.
I'm going to punish the many for the few.
It's called corporal punishment.
And the dialogue changed. Now,
the purpose of that, by the way, is not to be a dick to everybody. It is to let that person know that their actions affect everybody, not just themselves, right? Right.
The ripple effect is what I said.
And that's kind of the point. So we as a society have developed so much that we don't have a whole lot of existential threats anymore. But that muscle to defend against existential threats still needs to be exercised. So now you have to manufacture ways to do that. And in the same way, we're having to manufacture ways to teach young kids low-level conflict resolution and group responsibility. And it's not easy to do that, right?
Yeah, it's
because
not.
they're coddled little bitches.
Well,
You know what
the
I mean?
problem is no one in America wants to instill discipline. No one. Everybody wants shit for free, and there's no repercussions of anything. Back in the day, if I said something like, if you're out with your girl and I say something out of line, you're going to punch me in the face, and then hopefully, if I'm still alive, are you done? We're done. Nowadays,
Chuck Liddell, by the way, says it's not personal. You just committed a fighting offense, so now we got to fight. It's
exactly
just the way it is.
God bless Chuck.
You know what I mean? It's very, very thoughtful man.
But when you instill these rules, and what pisses me off is, and it got a lot of positive feed on IG, which is rare, but then when I put it on the talk, it got 1.8 million views, and like 2,000 views were like, you would never speak to my son like that. I'm like, that's the problem with America. You don't let, exactly.
Yeah, maybe you should speak to your son like that from time to time.
It is, I think society needs to be dialed in from time to time. Men.
For anybody who hasn't seen that clip, you were not disrespectful.
Not at all. Not at all.
You were stern.
And I explained everything.
Yeah, it wasn't, you weren't flying off the handle.
Yes.
Yeah.
You had a sternness to your voice, but you weren't yelling. You weren't embarrassing him.
Nope.
You were talking to him, explaining what was happening and why.
It's
why it was important.
It's
And
task.
For people to get upset about that.
It's
that
stupid.
just shows you how soft
No, this is basic stuff. It's task condition standard. Here's what you're supposed to be doing, right?
Yeah.
Here are the conditions under which you're going to do it, and here's how you will perform to get an A or succeed or whatever it is. And if you don't do that, you're going to get lit up.
He thanked me afterwards, right? Like, I don't need to have that on the camera. The problem with America is the standards have dropped. We accept being subpar, and I don't agree with that. At best, and it infuriates me. And I'll tell you how I see it. You see kids, like, how old are you? 36, how old are you?
41.
And I'm going to be 51. Why are we in better shape than average 16 and 18-year-old males? That's not right. It's because we've had discipline, right? You were in shape when you were a kid, or you just got your ass whooped and you weren't part of this and you weren't part of that. Now, society accepts being overweight and accepts this. I don't agree with that. Like, the purest form of discipline to me is an individual that's in shape. I'm looking at you, I'm looking at Giorgio, I'm looking at Chris, gorgeous, I'm looking at you. I look around here, not you, sorry, buddy, but people are in shape.
Yeah.
And that is the rarest and most purest form of discipline. And we need more of that.
Yeah, it's, how you do anything is how you do everything, right?
I agree.
It's like you fuck around, you walk past that piece of trash every day and don't pick it up. Every single time you do it, you're hammering into your psyche that you don't need to be responsible for your fucking environment. And that is a completely unacceptable way to go through life. And that's just par for the course now. Like, I was busy, or it's too hard, or all this. I mean, look, I hate to quote one of the Kennedys, but we do things not because they're easy, but because they're fucking hard. This is America, goddammit. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of the very few things that really gets me angry.
Yeah, and it's very easy. I think probably everybody in some point of their life has kind of started down that slippery slope where they just let like little stuff slide. But when that goes unchecked, I mean that creates enough of problems for your entirety of your life.
And it happens in, I think the most prominent place it happens is in your health and your relationships, right? Like you don't pay enough attention to your significant other. You
Yeah.
don't pay enough attention to your kids. You don't pay enough attention to your diet and exercise. And then you're fucked, right? Everything in your life just falls apart.
It's so funny how something small, like those little daily habits that don't seem to matter, when they're bad habits, you wind up paying for them like exponentially in the end. That small little thing that you couldn't resolve,
Yes.
that little standard that's annoying, making sure that you clean the table off when you're eating and when you're a kid, stuff like that. Push your chairs in, little stuff.
Chores, duties, fuck.
It's like, that's why McCraven is so fucking hard for making your bed every morning. I think.
Are we going to start?
I don't make my fucking bed because it's stupid. But I understand the point he's making.
It's
like, do the little things.
And
right?
again, we go back and forth. We've been going on this for years. So let me explain why I fucking do this to the audience. I make my bed because I get up and it's one task that I can just say I've done.
Yeah.
So listen.
I mean, I've got my whole routine too.
You got yours.
I
get
wake
it.
up and do take care of my animals, and
You
then
got-
I make.
But you know
espresso,
what? You
and then, so on and
prioritize
so
what's
forth.
important to you, and I prioritize with me. If I die, it's just I've got one thing accomplished. I've taken a piss because I'm old, and I've made my bed.
You're not
And
wearing a diaper?
I'm not wearing a diaper. But
He couldn't in these pants.
what
Yeah,
I
no
wa-
shit, yeah.
but what I want to do is I know because we have this amazing podcast, we're gonna have people coming in and out today. I want to do something that I've never done before. Number one, I'm wearing pants. That's the first. Number two, I'm not doing anything with the pubes. But number three, I want to have somebody come sit here for a second, and I want you to talk to him. He already knows what's going to happen. Everybody knows who this guy is, and he is, you know, John Lovell of Warrior Poet Society. His mission is exactly what this is. So what I'm going to do is go get a drink, and I'm going to come back and let John talk.
Yeah.
John Lovell.
What kind of drink are we talking about here?
I'll get you something.
Okay.
John Lovell.
Thank you.
I want you to jump on here.
Does this mean I'm in and you're out?
Yeah,
You're old news.
Backup's in.
Old news, bro. What's happening, guys?
Yeah, nice to meet you. My name's Dan.
I'm John.
Good to meet you. So,
Greetings. Hey, man.
Ian.
Ray,
John. Good to see
Ray,
you.
I think he's in the shack there, guy. Ray was telling me that our mission, I guess if you want to call it that kind of a line, the premise of this show, it's called Citizen, is that you can either perform the responsibilities required of you to secure your rights, or you can let somebody else secure them for you, and you will be a subject of them throughout your life. And he says there's some synergy there. Tell me about Warrior Poet Society, what you do.
Yeah, sure. So we're kind of more of the modern freedom fighters. That what you just said absolutely resonates with me. I was not really politically inclined for years. Now I am more so, but not in more of a traditional sense. Not like I'm out kissing babies and shaking hands and playing politic games.
Right.
It's that I noticed politics swallowed everything up. Our rights are eroding. Our country is being seemingly purposefully ruined, and I recognize that tyranny, which has in fact come to roost, authoritarians rising up, a elitist ruling class trying to keep us down, and
Two-tiered society.
absolutely that's
Right,
happening.
I mean, that's what it's always been about. It's about the aristocracy and everybody else, right?
Right.
It's always like that. Through every society in human history.
Right.
It doesn't, politics is kind of a canard, to be honest.
Well, we were doing our Warrior Poet thing, and I'm focusing on creating content that I like, the stuff that I'm interested in. But I felt backed into a corner because there was so much I was not allowed to say. And I just felt kind of bullied and boxed in throughout big tech and the public discourse, and I'm losing rights left and right. And I realized I've got to go on the defense and even offense here because tyranny is not letting me just live my life.
Yeah, you're not going to vote your way out of that shit.
That's right, but I found myself I was kind of in this coasting apathy of politics is over there, but now I'm pissed off enough that I've been bullied so much. This Orwellian dystopian pipe dream that we're living in that used to be this shining city on a hill.
Beacon of freedom and hope.
Shining
and
city on the hill, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love my country and I miss it, and I'm fighting now. I'm fighting.
Yeah, I like that stuff. I mean, it's the laissez-faire attitude. Don't play anymore. That dog don't hunt anymore. You can't.
Well, that's exactly how we got here.
Yeah, the live and let live
we'll let
bullshit.
somebody else handle it, and we're talking about that rugged not that rugged individualism, that selfish individualism. Like, you know what, my time's better spent doing what I like to do, not necessarily what I have to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Being an active and engaged citizen and doing all the little things that add up to earning that freedom. I like to say there's there's two costs you pay for freedom. You know, you pay in blood and conflict, and that's the really bad, nightmarish way, and then you pay every day by doing the things that keep freedom on the forefront and doesn't let it slip away.
Right, and it's a lot easier to effectively guard a city you have than retake a city you've lost.
Exactly. You know, it's like if we lose it altogether, our chances of getting it back are
nil.
Very,
right?
very
Or there's a relationship to the cost you pay as well.
Yes,
the longer you
exactly.
wait.
You'll wind up paying that first cost, that cost in blood.
So one of the things you should be most suspicious about is anybody trying to displace you or take away your ability to protect yourself. Right. That's fucked. There's no version of that in human history where it doesn't regress into authoritarianism. Not once ever has it not regressed into that.
It's the precursor to horrific events in every single case.
And look, we're still America's still a pretty amazing place to live. It's not that difficult to fine tune things. I wonder from your perspective, one of the things I talk about a lot is nullification, right? I mean, one of the things you have to do is get people on board and educated and shit. But as far as actual strategies, which I think is somewhere that the broader libertarian movement falls short most of the time, what practical shit can you do to reverse some of this bullshit? From my perspective, it is to capture local politics and then begin the process of nullification, where sheriffs tell the governor to go fuck himself when he says, you got to give me your assault rifle back, for example, which 90% of the sheriffs in Illinois have told the governor that they will not enforce their assault weapons ban already.
Good job, Americans.
Yes, exactly.
Good job, sheriffs.
But that's the path, right? And you start at that small level, and it's decentralized. I think there's a word for it, federalism, and it's a system of fucking government that we have. Right?
I think to add on, and you've kind of skirted around this one, but I'd hit it home, is buy guns and never, ever, ever, ever give them up.
Right, yeah.
And so, I mean, like, if you have to play the I lost him in a boating accident, that game, I'm past that. I'm pissed off enough of like, nope, I've got a lot of guns, and you can't have them ever, big brother. And that's one piece. A second thing is I'm really encouraging and going myself down this route of self-sufficiency. Recognizing
that's a huge one for me.
All of a sudden the bank...
They go hand in hand.
Yeah, in China, social credit scores and financial institutions brazenly just shutting down your ability to live unless you play ball with the big government. Imagine all of a sudden the government doesn't like what you're doing, just a few years ahead, and they just turn off your bank account.
This is why during these debates about who can do what, conservatives have opinions and liberals have opinions and leftists and far-right people and whomever else. You cannot create an institution that allows for that kind of bias because it's going to be used against you at some point.
Eventually,
right?
it's all fun and games when they're legislating something that you like. But when the winds change,
just look at Twitter.
Shit blows back in your face.
Just look at Twitter. Look at how happy liberals have been with Twitter for the past 6 years, and how pissed off they are right now.
Yeah,
not because they can't say whatever they want still, because you now get to say what you want.
That's right.
And that's offensive to them. You expressing yourself is offensive to somebody. That's fucking crazy.
Yep.
But you can't create those rules, even if it's in your favor. You can't create that kind of rule. That's why liberty first.
Right.
The end. For me, right? I don't even think about anything else.
It's really a simple concept, and all of these tie in together. The right to protect yourself, the right to liberty, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and then that self-sustainability. And I think that last part, people have started to realize how important that is in the last couple of years. I mean, like there's been plenty of people beforehand who were way ahead of the curve, but now you're seeing the general population start to be like, well, shit, maybe I should get some chickens.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I can't control what these assholes are doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I can control my own backyard.
Yes.
And you know what? Maybe I should look into, whatever the next
farmland or cattle or whatever it is, right?
If anybody who's ever kind of gotten into that, it's a little bit at a time, just a little bit. Get yourself a meat freezer to start. Buy a cow. Just start that, and find something else. And there's little by little, inch by inch, you start to reclaim your sovereignty.
Yeah, and
where somebody comes up to you and says you can't, and you just say fuck off.
Yeah,
because you're not going to shut off anything.
I sure can, bud.
Yeah, I sure can.
You're free to watch if you like. And then the next step after that is to begin. It's the point I was making before with the laissez-faire, live and let live stuff. You also have to be a proselytizer for this stuff, right? Like you get to a position where you can handle yourself and you start to help other people handle themselves as well. I talked about this very thing on veteran suicide panel about gun restriction this morning. The state can never be involved in that process, ever, because, as I said, every time it's ended in authoritarianism. But
And it violates our Bill of Rights.
correct, yeah. But conversely, if you want the federal government out of your fucking way, find out the problems they're solving and figure out a way to solve them your fucking self.
I
Not
like
just
that.
for yourself,
I like
but for
that.
everybody around you. And then help them do the same goddamn thing, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Look, this Fed dickholes, they're like Tinkerbell. If you don't believe in their power, it doesn't exist.
It really doesn't.
We're the ones that drive the tanks. We're the ones that shoot the guns. We're the ones that fly the fucking planes. They don't do a goddamn thing, right?
They're pretty good at taxes, though.
Yeah, they can tax this dick.
They're pretty good at taxes. That's the only thing the government seems to do exceptionally well. Oh, and corruption.
Corruption and wasting
Corruption.
money
They're all
too.
sick, twisted.
Yeah.
evil.
Wasting money's pretty good. They're good at printing it too.
Yeah.
So
That's
they've got
fantastic.
this kind of tag team.
In which
thing
case,
here
why do I
going.
have to pay taxes if you can print it? I still haven't got an answer to this very obvious question.
Because they don't want you to have any.
If you
It's
know
not,
that-
it's not about them needing it. It's about them not wanting you to have any. That's what it's about.
Interrupting podcast.
Yo,
John.
homie.
How are you?
Good to see you.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
Yeah.
How do we get back on track after that? That was Matt Best, everybody. There you go. Black Rifle.
But yeah, that's the key, right? It's to, as I said, this is the entire premise of the show. Perform the responsibilities required of you to earn the rights that you are intrinsically entitled to. Otherwise, somebody's going to do it on your behalf, and they're going to do it the way they want.
You're not going to like how they do it.
Yeah, and when they don't like you, you're not going to get those rights. And by the way, if something can be taken away, it's not a right, it's a fucking privilege. So don't tell me it's the Bill of Rights when you can fucking come take it away from me. That's not how that works, right?
No, it's not. Not at all.
All right, well, this has been great. I appreciate you stopping by today. I'm going to have
thanks
you
for
on.
having me, man.
I'm going to have you on for a full episode sometime soon.
Sounds good.
We'll
And
link
yeah,
up through these decks.
I understand now. Late, I just commandeer Ray Cashcare, former Navy SEAL. But
that is his full legal name, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's had it changed.
Says it on his
I think so,
driver's
yeah.
license and everything.
Yeah.
But he'll call me.
But he won't show you because it also says his height on his
We're-
driver's license. So
We're buddies, and Ray will just
Yeah.
call me of like, hey, John Lovell, Ray Cashcare, former Navy SEAL. Like he's given his own
Yeah, he's just got to
intro.
remind you who you're talking
Like
to.
he
He's a
doesn't
real
do
piece
it
of work,
fast.
that guy.
He holds it dramatic. Former Navy SEAL. Very, very
it's all about the
proud.
delivery. All right, welcome back. We have TV superstar AJ Buckley from, I think, what is it, New York? CSI New York?
CSI New York.
And then SEAL Team, which everybody actually knows you
Yes.
from. At least all of our fans.
And we just got
know you
picked
from.
up for season 7 today.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw DB posted about it. That's
yeah,
dope,
very,
man.
very excited,
7
man.
seasons, a lot of seasons of TV.
It-
I mean, you did 10 on CSI,
We did
right?
nine on CSI, and but just I mean, to get past the pilot is like
Right.
thing, and then to get
I mean, it's a
you
1
know,
in 8 chance.
yeah, and
You-
then we go get like then we hit the 100 episodes. I did that with CSI New York, and to get to do this again with this is great. But I mean, it's I'm very, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I'm so grateful to be a part of this
Yeah,
show
man.
and
That's
what
like,
it does.
like just coming on set and knowing a bunch of you guys, knowing Tyler, knowing Neil
Yeah.
and shit. It's like the best cast of people to do that specific thing. Right?
Yeah.
Like maybe it happens other
It's
times.
lightning in a bottle, yeah.
You know what
It
I mean?
is.
But it's like, and
Yeah.
the way you guys represent the military community is very important to us.
I appreciate.
right?
Well, it's guys like
Especially this last season was super fucking brutal, man.
Yeah, I mean, we did lose one of our best guys.
Yeah,
Max
yeah.
Terriot,
Yeah.
who plays Clay Spencer, is probably one of the greatest human beings ever. I know
He's
you got
playing
to,
a felonious firefighter now.
now,
I believe, yeah.
I mean, he is Mr. October.
Yeah, he is, yeah. Is he? Oh my god!
I mean, wait,
we should get an entire calendar made of just him and send it to him.
I mean, I think I would put it up on my wall. I see him, you know.
He's that dude. Like looks at a weight and gains 15 pounds
Dude,
of muscle.
it is unbelievable. And there's like, and I told him when I met him, like, I was like, he's good looking, he's super nice. I'm like, I told him, I was like, Max, if you can sing, I'm actually gonna fucking hate you. Because if you're one of those guys that has all, and then you can sing,
It would
too,
be like Jamie Foxx.
yeah,
Like
or like
great looking,
Zac
he can act,
Efron, like
comedy,
Zac
Zac
Efron, like
Efron,
fucking
yeah.
all of a sudden, like you're like la la la, like
It's like
show
the most
them-
talented dude in the
like,
world, and he's
fuck
pretty
you,
too.
dude.
Yeah,
I would
fuck
actually
off.
have a problem with you.
So this show, Citizen, is about. The premise of the show is you can either perform the responsibilities required of you to secure your rights,
Yeah.
or you can bitch and whine and have somebody else secure them for you, and you're going to be a subject instead of a citizen. Right?
Okay.
You've lived in multiple countries,
Yeah.
right?
I was born in Dublin, Ireland.
Right.
Which people find hard to believe since I play a Texan on TV.
Yeah, wow.
And Then I went from Ireland to Canada, and then I've been in America. I actually just this 5 months ago I got my American citizenship.
Oh shit! Congratulations!
Yeah, fucking so
now
proud.
you're part of the best team in the world, bud.
I 100% agree, and I really mean it. Like that was a big. I got really emotional on that, and to get my American citizenship and to what the country means and what the flag means, and to be an immigrant here, and to being able to chase my dream, and to raise my family, and now I live in South Carolina. Like, it literally is the greatest country in the fucking world, and anybody that has anything else to say about that, they can go fuck themselves.
Yeah, you heard it here first, folks. From AJ
Can I swear
Buckley.
on this podcast?
You can say whatever
okay,
you want.
I figured it was you. So
Yes. I always struggle.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Man, this guy.
you pulled an AJ.
And it's fine. It's fine. Weston Scott. I don't know that you got in the frame, but at least now you've got to come show your face, though. Come on. Yeah, get in here. Got to come show your face. No, it's good to see you. No worries. Thank you. Yeah, so I agree with you. A lot of improvements to be made, and it's like anything. Like, I've got the best car in the world, but you don't just stop putting gas in it, do you?
No.
You know what I mean? It's
No.
just the idea that we can sit back and rest on our old merit, I guess,
Yeah.
at this point. Nothing that's not moving forward, it will continue to exist.
And sometimes, for some people, you have to realize it's got to get a little weird first before they go, oh,
Sure, yeah.
the old days were good. What are we complaining about? It's got to
Yeah.
you don't appreciate it as much until it's gone.
Well, I mean, you, again, just from your nationality and moving around and stuff, but also from the places in the U.S. you've lived
Yeah.
or had to stay for extended
Yeah.
periods of time, you've got a pretty unique perspective on what it looks like to be free
Yeah.
and have the illusion of freedom, in my opinion. Right?
I like when we lived in California, and like LA used to be a great place. It really did. And then there was a time during COVID where things just didn't align with sort of what I believe in my heart, how I want to raise my kids, and my morals, and sort of how I was raised on my faith. And we started looking at other places, Tennessee, Texas, and then we ended up in South Carolina. And what's great about this country is you can do whatever the hell you want, and you can choose to go down a certain way, and I respect that choice for you. And I choose to live in a place where it's free, and people respect you, and people respect the country.
Yeah. Do you see Danny McBride down there at all?
He is a staple in the community.
Oh, yeah. So you got to, work on your mullet a little bit, maybe.
It's actually, I'm working on it right now. That's all right. Check this. Look at this. Yeah. It's coming in.
Yeah, I see it.
That's in South Carolina. Mullet.
Yeah, that's now all you need is a jet ski at this point and a Coors Light or something.
I have one.
So tell me about this. Since you came on, tell me about this product you're working with now.
So I got contacted by this company named Light Horse. They're based out of Canada, and
It's
there's
LYTE Horse.
Horse, yeah. And it's actually a really cool vehicle. It is the way that it's designed. Most UTVs or ATVs or quads, they'll flip at between 32 and 38 degrees. This won't tip over. It's 33 different moving parts.
Mm-hmm.
It won't tip over until like about 68 degrees. Does 60 mile an hour.
I'm sorry, 60 miles per hour.
It hauls. It gives off zero heat signature. It has. And when we
You
went
said
out
it's super quiet too, right?
there's no sound. The only way you know there's sound is if it rocks or stuff, it kicks up. And then it's got a little gun mount on it and all the different things. It is. So originally he contacted me about potentially getting on the show, and then we just started talking, and I really liked the brand and what it represented. And then when I got on, I was like, we ended up, and they asked me to be the face of the company for the next, the contract's for 2 years, so hopefully I don't shit the bed. And
Cool,
but
there
it really is an awesome. And I ride dirt bikes and done that, but this, and I tried my best to try and tip this, and I rode this as hard as I could.
I'm sure you did.
I did.
I have no doubt about that.
And the thing is so low to ground. It can tow 1,000 pounds, so it'll pull like your boat out of the water. Like, it thing is fucking. The thing
That's
is
crazy.
It is. It's one of the coolest machines you've ever been on.
I'm gonna have to check this out. What else you got going on?
Man, just loving South Carolina. Like I said, we got picked up for season 7, so I got a couple months before we go back. I produced a movie called Crime Boy, and I'm going to star in it, which will start filming mid-April, and then I'll shoot that and then go back to SEAL Team.
Who's directing?
A guy by the name of Ben Jagger. He wrote and directed.
Any relation?
No, but Ben and Dean Jagger, these two English guys, it's amazing stories based on a true artifact. It's considered to be one of the most haunted artifacts in the world. It was a painting and has something to do with Lucifer. So the tagline in the movie is "Even the Devil Cries," but it's a really cool movie. And just listen, man. I'm just very. There's not a day of me like sitting here with you or being in a place like this. I don't know how I got so fucking lucky, man.
Yeah.
This is a great life right now.
Yeah. You always got that a little bit of imposter syndrome, don't you?
Yeah, it's like,
Like,
bro,
oh, is this really my
yeah.
job? What's going on
I'm like,
here?
this is great. So, it's like, this is my first SHOT Show, so I'm losing my virginity right now as I speak to you, and you brought condoms.
Yeah, well, it wasn't me. It was Dion from F1 Firearms.
Very
we'll
thoughtful
get
guy.
you one of these guns too.
Yeah, that would be great.
Well, cool, man. Thanks for coming by today.
Dude,
We
always
appreciate
great
it.
to- yeah,
As soon
always
as I
great
get
to-
done doing this, we'll go
Okay, have a
cruise
cocktail.
around a little bit
All
more.
right, great to see you,
Thanks,
brother.
buddy.
God bless.
And we're back again with Tyler Gray, who was just on Drink It Bros. What?
Yes.
But I missed that one because I had
Yeah, you
AIDS
had
or whatever. I don't
You,
know what
yeah,
it was.
you had a hybrid. It was COVID mixed with AIDS.
With AIDS, yeah. And I
so-
took a lot of NyQuil. I think I drank like 5 bottles of NyQuil.
Dude, NyQuil is awesome.
It cures AIDS.
It
I'm not a
really-
doctor, but
Yeah,
that's what I was told.
cures everything.
So what have you been up to lately since the last show, I guess?
Good. Actually, since Drinking Bros, I started a podcast.
Oh, yeah, what
actually,
is it?
which it's unnamed, so
Because
it's yet to be named.
You and Jack Osborne were toying
we
around with the
talked
idea
about
back
it.
in
a
the
while.
day, right?
I've toyed around with it
Yeah.
for probably 4 years at this point,
Yeah.
and I just never wanted to do one because so many people like yourself had great ones that I was like, man, I don't want to do one. What do I have to say that's different?
Right.
And even now that I started, it's not necessarily that I have something to say that's different. It's that I think the more different perspectives people hear, the better overall that we can, understand.
Yeah.
The better guys can understand, and men and women can understand themselves as veterans, and quite frankly, as people. It's
well, I mean, somebody with your breadth of experience is going to know. It's not about what you say; it's about knowing the right questions to ask. And you like real ones with John Bernthal.
Yeah, that was great.
I don't know what he's had a pretty fucked up life, I guess, but and maybe that is what gives him the perspective to be able to ask.
I
directly
think
ask
it
those
is.
super intense questions
just-
and sit back and listen to the answer. He's so good at that
Dude,
stuff.
he digs right.
Yeah.
He just the first time I met John, it's like, hey, how you doing? And the next thing you know, it's like you're talking about like one of the worst memories of your childhood. And he's just that
He's
way.
like Barbara Walters, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Just pulling it out of you.
but he's just so passionate and so interested in everyone's story. And John's a truly great guy. And but yeah, the different questions, and people have to feel comfortable. They can talk, that they can talk about certain things. And so, anyways, we'll see where that goes. But
So what's the? You haven't named it yet, but what's the general idea? of the
It's
show?
what mine is about. Ultimately, is self-improvement, and which I'm sure I've talked, not self-improvement, but I've talked on multiple podcasts about just being self-destructive.
Right,
I up until probably a year and a half, 2 years ago, I was extremely self-destructive, and so. For me, it was kind of like I wanted to talk about how I recognized that and then started and actively changed it and started looking, just progressing towards self-improvement and getting away from self-destruction.
Well, what was it that did it for you? What was it that made you decide to finally get your shit together, I guess? And then what was the process like for that?
AIDS. No,
AIDS will do it.
AIDS. I got
Worked for
AIDS.
Charlie Sheen,
Changed
shit.
everything. No, for me, it wasn't what's the word I'm looking for? It wasn't a light switch, moment. It was really I think just a slow kind of realization of, and to be perfectly honest, I think probably it was partially from doing, between therapy and podcast and just being very open and basically not bullshitting myself.
Well, sunlight's the best disinfectant, right? When you lay all that stuff out
Of
there,
course, yeah.
When you lay all that stuff out there, it's hard to ignore it at that point.
It
Like,
is, and
we like to pile substances and erratic behavior on top of our problems, hoping like you're sweeping it under the rug.
Well,
and it works for a little while too. That's the bad part, because it does work. You can make it work for years.
Yeah, you can, and you make a good point too with like addiction, substances, alcohol, whatever, and any form of addiction, to include adrenaline addiction, which is a thing, and that is, adrenaline is or not adrenaline. Addiction is not the problem in on itself.
Right, yeah.
Any addiction is a bad. It's a bad. What's the word I'm looking for? It's a.
Well, the second and third order effects from the addiction is what really, when it starts interrupting your life.
Yeah,
your
yeah.
health,
But
right?
I'm saying any level of addiction, the addiction isn't the problem. It's a bad cover.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah,
a cover
certainly. Yeah,
up
yeah,
for some
yeah.
fundamental pain and some
certainly,
fundamental issues. But in on itself is not the issue. It's
Right,
it's a bad. The word I was looking for. It's a bad coping mechanism.
Sure, yeah. And
It's
that's
an
why people go to
unhealthy coping
rehab
mechanism.
and they're recidivists. They go to rehab over and over
Yeah,
and over
because they're
again.
not
They never
fixing.
address the actual
They're
issue.
addressing addiction, but they're not
Right.
underlying. That's addiction is the symptom. The disease is
Sure.
different for everyone, but the disease is usually, in my experience, and I think in a lot of people's, the disease is probably something that happened a long time ago,
More, yeah, probably. I mean, it compounds over time, right?
and it definitely compounds
'Cause,
over time.
You know, those things that happen when you're young affect your relationships when you're older.
Yeah.
And then the failures in your relationships when you're older affect you when you're even older.
Oh,
you know
dude,
what I mean?
my I had 2 relationships that failed, and the reason they failed was because of unresolved,
Right.
issues going back to my childhood.
And it's
So-
interesting for a guy that's, done war quite a bit, for it to not necessarily have been that was the impetus for all this shit. You know
It's
what I mean?
funny because-
we talked about that this morning on this veteran anti-suicide panel, as you
Yeah.
like to mention. That one of the questions from the audience was, don't you think that childhood trauma that goes undiagnosed and then somebody joins the military and then you're just stacking shit on top of that as well?
Dude, I think that is this personally. I think that is the single biggest factor
It
is
might
childhood
be,
trauma.
because you hear it a lot. And as a matter of fact, one of the I'm not sure if you're aware of this. I think you might be, and I think maybe you guys even mentioned it on the show at some point on SEAL Team. But operators, especially, there's a high percentage of them, like 60 to 70%, that had fatherless homes or some kind
Yeah.
of disruption in the home life.
Yeah, but
Like
I
a
would
bunch,
say
like a more than a majority, I guess.
yeah, and to expand on the fatherless, also fathers with addiction or
Right,
father,
yeah, yeah.
they
Some
may
kind
have
of
been
disruption
They
in the
may
home,
have been
yeah.
there,
Yeah.
the father, but
Yeah.
they were absentee fathers,
Right.
whether they were there or not.
And that shapes the way that you live your entire life.
Absolutely,
Like the
it
way
did mine.
the way you think about how you're supposed to treat other people.
Yeah.
Right? And what
Yep.
you should expect of other people.
Yep.
For a young boy, almost entirely comes from the way his father treats his mother. You know
Yep.
what I mean?
Yep.
That's a big thing. And if it doesn't go well in your childhood, man, things are going to be rough for you.
Absolutely,
And then you stack all the prolonged exposure to combat stress and stuff like that. It's just a bad recipe.
It is. We were just talking earlier when I did an episode, and we were talking about I was saying how, for me, I know a bunch of guys that, saw more combat than Audie Murphy, got every award there is.
Not
and,
a scratch on them, and they're fine. They're fine.
And they're fine. And then the crazy part, though, is they're not having any real issues, and then their wife leaves them, and they're done.
Yeah.
Just
Yep.
toast.
That support system goes away. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think what it is, doing the job, you have to put your emotion, you can't let emotions into the mix.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you build this dam, and all the emotions get stopped by the dam, and then when something like that happens, and then your wife is leaving you because you're an emotionless robot.
Right, yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're just, I can't deal with this,
Yeah, yeah.
rightly so,
Yeah.
and they leave, and
But then it all comes pouring out.
them leaving explodes
Yeah,
the
yeah,
dam,
yeah.
and then you're drowning in the flood of your own emotions,
Right.
because you probably wouldn't be good at handling them one at a time. But when 10 years, 20 years of emotions come at one time, and guys are drowning in that. I've
Yeah.
seen that over and over again.
Yeah, same. You know what's really interesting? We were talking about it again on the panel this morning. It seems like the rate of suicide amongst non-combat people is going up at a rate faster than combat action
Yeah.
people. So even in the services, so in the active duty, all services active duty, suicide's up 8.3% over the last 2 years. But then for reserve and guard, it's like 22% and 35% up. And those two, where they don't, especially now with our op tempo now, they're not really deploying anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, it isn't just, it's not just the single moment, the TV moment where you're watching your buddy die in your arms that creates post-traumatic stress. That's not at all how that works, right? Like that, we because we are problem solvers and we want to reduce something down to us one thing, right? That's what we do. It's an effigy for all of it, right? That's not what it is. You have to see all this stuff, right?
I couldn't agree more. I think the biggest problem, and it's not just the community. Medical community, mental health community does the same thing. What's the one fact? I'll give you an example. We don't act, when we treat anything mental, we don't also, when they're treating you for depression, as an example, they don't do your blood work.
Yeah, they don't check your testosterone levels.
As
you know
if
what I mean?
the body, as if the mind works separately from the body.
And
it's ludicrous.
I say this a lot, so people in the show that listen to the show probably know what I'm going to say already, but the average 21-year-old in America right now has 40% less testosterone than their counterpart in 2001. 40% less, and that's just regular people. That's not people like us that have been blown the fuck up a bunch of times or, burn pits and all that other horse shit. That's just a regular guy. So who knows what it is for us? But I'm sure you've gone through that. Almost every dude I know.
When I did my hormone panels, that was such an eye opener for me. I was like, well, that explains that. It's like reading all your mental problems, but in physical, tangible numbers.
Yeah.
But they don't do it. They don't check that, and it's sad.
It's a real shame because for the problem solver, right? You give them that kind of data, now they've got a plan. They don't feel hopeless anymore.
Yeah.
And it's the hopelessness in those moments that make people put the gun in their mouth.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Well,
right?
and the thing is too is when I look at numbers, it's giving me something, it's like a video game to where I can see, and then I start working on it. I go back and the number is higher. It's tangible progress.
Yeah.
I did something and there's a tangible effect rather than just, I went to therapy and we talked. Did it help? I don't, like there's nothing, there's no quantification, like you can't quantify the results.
Right. Which is difficult for linear thinkers. Like
exactly. I want to see definitive results.
Yeah.
Assaulters
are linear thinkers.
Yeah.
Like, this is the problem, I'm going to work the problem. That's Jason Hayes. As DB likes to say all the time, and that's his best quote. Work the problem. I love that because that's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
right?
and going back to work the problem, it's what a lot of us are. I did it for a long time, which is ignore the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all done it, and why? Why do we ignore the problem? Because the problem's hard work,
right?
And the solution's hard work. But then the worst part is, let's say you work the problem, and then you don't see any tangible results because there are none. And then it just frustrates you. Well, I spent all that time doing something and it meant nothing. You know what I mean? I got nothing tangible from it.
Yeah.
We want to see quantifiable results.
Right. Yeah. And it's, I think it's like when you're walking down the street and you see somebody trip and fall, then a very natural human instinct is to avert your eyes, right? Because you don't want to. Some people say it's because you don't want to
make them feel bad.
But I think it's because you don't want to take responsibility for what's happening there.
Yeah.
Because once you acknowledge it, now you have a duty to go stop that.
Yeah.
And once you acknowledge that what's fucked up about you right now can be fixed in a way that was within your power to fix it, you've got to do it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would rather just say this is something that's happening to me instead of I'm a person and I could do something about this.
I literally just had this conversation yesterday, which is, two parts. One is, without question, the person that lies to us the most is ourselves.
Oh yeah, big time.
100%. The other part is we have to accept that we are responsible for everything that's ever happened to us.
Yep.
Negatively.
Yep.
And the reason is
Matt Best likes to say you're the author of your own calamity.
Absolutely.
Right?
And if we don't accept every negative thing that's ever happened to us, then we by definition can't accept every positive thing that's ever happened to us that we're responsible for. It's both. It's all or nothing. And though something is not necessarily your fault, it is your responsibility to fix it because
Absolutely,
it's you.
Yeah, and that goes not just for yourself, but for your community as well.
Absolutely.
Like, I didn't do that. I'm not going to, this person's suffering.
Yeah.
You help them.
The quickest thing that we can do to make ourselves, our people around us, our, city, state, country, world, you name it.
Yeah.
Is very simple. It's very simple. It's hard to do, which is why no one wants to do it, but it's very simple. And that's take responsibility.
Yep.
That's it. It's really not complicated. It's just something that we have now as a society continually given people reasons to not do it.
And that is speeding up rapidly at this point. But
Yeah.
even within our groups, like the leadership, in a lot of cases, refuse to take responsibility for things. They want to pass the buck, or they want to, check the box and like, hey, we did the gun safety course or the
We're
suicide
good.
prevention
We're
course.
good.
Like, we're good now. Like, no, did you call? Did you go, just for fun one weekend go down your entire call out roster and say, hey, nothing's wrong. I'm just checking on you, bud. How's it going? You know what I mean? Like, that's how hard is that to do? That's literally your job. It's a 24. Being a good man is a 24-hour day job.
Yeah.
You don't get to take fucking breaks.
No,
You know
no,
what I mean?
and just responsibility for being a good friend, a good husband, a good father, a good coworker, all those different things, and a lot of people too. It's like we have to accept that no one is going to change our reality for us but us.
Right.
That's
Yep.
just
Yep.
again, it's
And
a sad truth, but it's
even
true.
if somebody could change it for us, nobody's
Yeah.
going to be able to change it as best as we could.
No, absolutely.
As efficiently and as accurately as we want it, right?
You're the only person who can manifest what you want.
yeah.
And no, even if I'll give you directing an episode of TV.
Yep.
It's so hard. It's so easy for me to picture exactly. I can watch the
Yeah.
episode in my head, but communicating to other people exactly what I'm seeing to try and help them give me what I want, that's hard.
Especially when you're also acting and
Well,
technical consulting.
Yeah, that's true.
and
that's
writing
true.
the episode. It's a lot of work.
Well, not writing.
I don't know
but,
how you handle all that stuff, to be honest.
Uh,
like directing, acting in, and being a technical advisor on the episode all at the same time. That's fucking crazy.
To be perfectly honest with you, I absolutely overwork myself
Yeah.
really badly in 2020, which put me in rehab.
Yeah, you did two. You directed two
I was in
episodes,
Warriors
right?
Heart. I directed three.
Three, yeah.
The
Okay.
third one just put me over the edge.
Right.
I mean, it was. I lost my first AD to COVID. I lost my stunt coordinator on the heaviest action. I mean, it was a nightmare. And so I overworked myself. I was still recovering from a motorcycle accident.
Yeah.
And I just, it put me in rehab. I burned myself out.
Yeah.
And that being said, best thing I ever did.
Yeah,
Because
well, that's a great
I
organization.
learned so much from that. It was absolutely.
Yeah.
I learned so much from it, well, in general, but also so much from it about myself.
Right.
I wouldn't give that up for anything.
Yeah,
so I'm glad, as negative as it was, that happened because it I've never probably in my life spent 42 days on myself.
Yeah, and then
every day just working on
100%.
me. That's it.
And now you're doing what I think is the right thing to do when you get your legs under you. Start looking around for other people to help.
Absolutely.
Right? Like
Absolutely.
there's an old quote. I'm not entirely sure who it's attributed to, but the quote is, you have two hands for a reason, one to pull yourself up and one to pull the next guy up with you, right? And
Yeah.
that is the essence of human civilization.
Well, and I think what happens often is that people that have their feet under them, as you said, and can help people at that point don't.
Right.
That happens. And then the flip side of that I see happening a lot is people that are trying to help others, which is admirable.
Don't have their shit together.
But they don't
yeah.
have their shit
Yeah,
together.
it's like
and-
who gives the best relationship advice? Single people on the internet, right? Which is not
Exactly.
the best
Yeah,
relationship
no,
advice,
of course,
by the
no,
way.
and that's the thing. And you bring up something that's so interesting to me, which is, it's one of my favorite sayings, and that is, never take advice from someone who isn't where you want to be.
Right. Yeah. Don't take criticism from somebody you wouldn't take advice
That's
from.
a
That's a good one.
Another
right?
good one.
Yeah,
I
like
was just
those.
talking about that today too, and so it's if you take advice, you're going to end up where they are because that advice is what got them there.
Yeah, I'm glad you're doing this new show. I think it's going to be just as beneficial for you as it is for all of us to listen.
It has already,
to
absolutely.
be honest, yeah. What's the plan with that? Are you already publishing, or are you just kind of recording and putting stuff together?
I'm dealing with you guys.
You're talking to Russ?
Yeah,
Good luck
yeah,
with that. You got to
yeah.
talk past his fucking mustache. Have you seen his mustache lately? I don't know if he had
is
it when you were
bigger
there last.
from. I think it was starting. It was probably pre-70s level at that
yeah,
point.
it's full-blown 70s level.
Yeah,
at
well,
this
I mean,
point,
that's
yeah.
Ross, though.
Yeah,
you
fair
know what I
enough,
mean?
yeah.
Like, he looks like a child molester. You know?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
There you go.
Now, he did say he's getting weird looks going to pick his kids up from school
I think
now.
a mustache is like a warning symbol.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's
like
gotta
a
have
snake
a mustache
with
to warn kids.
It's like a snake with bright colors on it. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
venomous. Yeah,
Yeah,
you got to
yeah.
get out of here.
Yeah,
Well, look, man,
exactly.
I appreciate you taking the time today.
No, man, thanks
we'll
for
get
having
this
me.
wrapped up, and we'll have your show. We'll figure out a fucking name and whatever.
Yeah.
And-
Right now it says the As Yet Unnamed Podcast,
it's just,
which
and
has a little ring to it.
it's in brackets. It looks good. Yeah. I
Yeah,
like it.
exactly.
Well, thanks for
Awesome.
coming today, man.
Yeah,
I really
thanks for having me,
appreciate it.
Dan. Yeah, and good.
Anytime.
I'm not glad this worked because we got to, you were sick when I did drinking.
Yeah,
Bros,
this is
so-
better.
Yeah,
Ross
yeah,
is
yeah.
not interfering. He's not.
Love you, Ross.
Oh, yeah.
All right, man.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks again, brother. Thank you.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. We certainly enjoyed having these conversations, as we always do. Any of these guys could have gone the full hour. We'll have them back on sometime soon. AJ, Tyler, and Lovell, especially guys that haven't been on the show yet. They're all busy. We're all busy, rather, at SHOT Show, so we didn't have time to get a full hour in with all of them. But I'm lucky enough to call these men friends. So if you're out there and, think you're all alone, that, people are fucked and no one gives a shit about the country anymore. Hopefully seeing some of these conversations show you that, there's people working behind the scenes and in front of the scenes a lot to have these conversations and move the ball forward a little bit and kind of insulate us to what degree we're able from all the bullshit that's going on in society right now. So, hopefully seeing a variety of dudes working towards the betterment of America will remind you that people are out there and you can be one of those people. So thanks again for watching. This has been Citizen.